Hello, hockey goalies and skaters around the world. Welcome back to another edition of the Ride to the Rink. It's Lee, Mike, and Christy, and we brought on one of the best college goalies in the country today. And if that's not good enough, he plays pro today. You're going to want to listen to this person. Whether you're a goalie or not, kids, if you're in the car right now with your parents going, I'm not a goalie, I don't need to listen to this. Yes, you do. Goalie's a very important position. So we're bringing in here Ian Shane, one of our really greatest goaltending guests ever. And we're going to talk today about how we all know you're talented. If you're listening to this, you love the game. But what does it mean to be a great teammate? How much talent does it take to be a great teammate or lack of talent? And why is that important? And there's nobody better than Ian to talk about this because as a goaltender, kids, you know, sometimes you're in the net, sometimes you're not in the net. There's games where you're not playing. So, Ian, let me throw this to you. Let's just talk about, the power of being a great teammate, and then through the eyes of a goaltender, how that applies to the whole team, the other goaltenders, so forth and so on.
Yeah, I think that, as I mentioned to you guys earlier on before, everything becomes so much easier when your purpose is external, when it's how can I make the person next to me or across the room from me that much better at something, or how can I make their day that much better. And it's so hard, I think, in this sport and in this day and age with social media, and it's hard at a young age to get out of your own head and sort of thinking about where you're at. And I think that it stresses people out a lot. It stresses kids out, college age students and whatnot, to think about where I am right now and what I'm doing, the expectations I have for myself. So it's just honestly a little trick to get out of your own head and maybe get yourself out of a funk, is to think about how can I make someone else's day better? How can I, who in here might not be having a great day? How can I go about the locker room with some positivity? And you won't even really notice right off the bat that you're not thinking about what's stressing you out. You're not thinking about maybe what's coming up in school or the games you have this weekend that are big games. You're thinking more about, I want to make sure that my teammates are okay. And we've talked about before as well that it's really hard to think and play hockey at the same time. Things happen so fast. So if you can sort of get out of that thinking mindset of trying to overthink the whole game and complicating things for yourself, then it just all becomes easier and your game becomes better, it comes more naturally, and also helps develop these relationships with your teammates.
Great advice, Ian. And what if you're not the only goalie on the team? What kind of a relationship should you develop with other goalies?
Yeah, I think a goaltending relationship is always competitive. I mean, unfortunately, only one goalie gets to play at a time. So you're always competing, but having that mature mindset about yourself where it's, we're competing, but I can also learn things from him. We're more than allowed to talk about what's going on in games. We can give each other advice. And, if we both play better, then the team plays better. Our team gets more recognition, then we get more recognition. So once again, just going back to the tide raises all ships, so to speak. You want the best for your teammates. You want the best for your goalie partner, because in the end, it's going to be the best situation for you.
I want to ask this too, Ian. It's great advice, but knowing kids, you kids, you can be mean to each other. And I think sometimes, I say a lot, not every thought in your head has to come out all the time, right? So when you have a teammate, maybe it's the kid listening right now, that maybe there's this more negative dialogue in the head of like, well, that kid sucks, or this kid sucks, right? Maybe it's I suck. I mean, there's a lot of negative rhetoric out there. Do you have any tips for a kid in that position to maybe flip it around? Like I said, we can tell that kid to be a great teammate, but maybe what are some of the thoughts of, well, that kid's horrible, that we can flip that into something different?
Yeah, I would say, first off, try and figure out where that thought is coming from. Is it someone you're competing against? Is it someone who's maybe been getting more ice time than you? And if so, how can you sort of flip that scenario or that situation, that narrative into, what I want to, this kid's playing more than me, or this kid has been having a lot more success than me, so I want to maybe emulate a few of the things he's doing, but you shouldn't just copy him. Maybe ask like, hey, how do you do this? How do you approach that? And people love being asked questions about themselves, about their processes. That's not even just a hockey thing. That's just humans in general. People love to talk about themselves. So if you can get them, sharing some of their knowledge with you, it helps you out and also starts building a little bit of a relationship there, and something that you can kind of build upon.
Hey, Ian, just for the guys and the girls, you're driving to the rink right now, and you got you're a 12-year-old goalie, 13-year-old goalie. Can you just talk about how exciting it would be for them to be able to go up to another goalie in their organization, that whether they're playing, 18U or 16U and an older peer and kind of befriend them and pick their brain and use them within the organization to get better as a goaltender and with your own team?
I think that's absolutely huge. If you have access to somebody who's willing to share information with you, who might be a little bit older and experienced, and that's something that I learned in college and high school hockey, that your upperclassmen, they want what's best for the team, they want what's best for you, and they're going to help you out. Like, everybody loves to be asked stuff about their process and what they're doing. So don't be afraid to start those conversations. It's okay to go up to somebody and ask, like, hey, I saw you were doing this before the game. Even as little as I saw you taped your stick this certain way. Why do you do that? At least it starts a little bit of a dialogue and a relationship, and then you can build off of that, get into more nuanced questions, and it's going to help, honestly, both you, because that person's now going to also think about their process a little bit more, and maybe they think of, oh yeah, actually, why do I do that? And it'll help both sides out.
I love it, Ian. And I'll say to the kids out there, we talked about this on the big episode, having a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. It is a major way to stand out on your team. Go look that up. And we said this on the big episode too. You should listen to the full episode with Ian this week if you're interested in what he's talking about, because he started in a non-traditional hockey market in California, and then he started as the third goaltender on Cornell. Then he became the starter for 4 years. Now he's making his way into professional hockey. If that's a dream of yours, it's a great episode to listen to. But Ian, great stuff today for the kids. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. This was awesome.
All right. For Mike, Christy, and Ian, kids, remember, wherever you're at on your hockey journey, know we believe in you. All right? You should too. We'll see you on the next Ride to the Rink, everybody. Have fun and skate on.